you, what would you have done if you'd have won $1 million at 21?
You know, that's the first thing I thought of. 21 years old, $1 million. It might have just ruined me. I think those bologna and cheese sandwiches, I wouldn't have very many of those. But that's awesome. You know, that RFD-TV, Randy, Patrick Gotch just revived the rural nation with one event. I'm just excited to see what the future holds with these guys.
You know, you're the all-around champion today. Of course, you've broke all the records when it comes to winning championships. You've been a great champion throughout the sport. When you had a chance this evening, backing in there in the calf roping to win, knowing what the time was set ahead of you, did the money enter into it, or was it just a simple matter of I want to win?
You know, it's all about leaving here with the win, especially when it's a rodeo as prestigious as the American. The money's awesome. Nobody's going to deny that up here. But it's coming away with a win with this field of guys that makes it special.
All right, congratulations. Any questions for Trevor? If you want to catch him privately, he'll also be around. Right now, let's go from Trevor and bring up our steer wrestling champion, Hunter Cure. Where's Hunter? All right, congratulations, Hunter. Hunter, you were, I believe, we're all going to get up here. We're going to get Patrick, everything up here. Let's take some seats. I like it when we move fast. Lean into the microphone. Right now we've got Hunter. We've also got Caleb Diggers and Patrick Smith. All right, Hunter, we're talking about you. You were the first guy, I believe, to go into steer wrestling. You go back in the chutes. You come out of the chutes. You lay the calf down, the steer down in 3.75. What was it like to kind of sit back there and wait for the rest of the event?
Well, it's always a little bit nerve-wracking waiting on some of the top guys in your industry, especially Dean Gorsuch. I seem to be waiting on him at the NFR as well. He always makes me nervous. So being able to be first was a little bit of an advantage. I was able to stay calm and try to push the barrier as much as possible.
Was it an advantage to you to go first with really not any pressure on you to kind of set the stage, or would you prefer, if you had to do over, would you have liked to have gone last?
Either way, it does. Yeah, I don't feel like the other guys' runs are going to affect mine. I have to do my job in order to win, and I felt that I was able to do that today.
When you come to an event like the American this afternoon, which is, we just heard from Randy Bernard say, it set all kinds of records. You got to be part of the first one. You saw how the fans reacted this afternoon. What?
And Randy Bernard for putting this together.
Thank you very much. A champion in the steer wrestling, Mr. Hunter Cure. Moving on over to the team ropers, we've got Caleb Diggers and Patrick Smith. Guys, again, you were first to go. Pressure, no pressure?
Well, there's always pressure. I mean, anytime there's $100,000 out there, you know, I always like to say I've got a wife and 2 daughters and a little boy, and so living with 3 women, that money comes into play. That's all I can think about is getting that bank account. So there's always pressure, but like we were talking about earlier, is when you're first team out, it takes some of the thinking out of it. You know, you're not sitting back knowing exactly what you have to do. The other 3 guys behind us were all very capable of good runs, so we didn't have any choice but to go as fast as we could.
Caleb, you get to work with a pretty neat guy. I mean, you got to be very excited when you were talking about the time it took after you made your run. You got a really good partner, and you've got some great things ahead of you. You got to be pretty excited.
Yes, sir. I have a really good partner. We teamed up this year, and it's been going kind of slow, but it's picking up and way better than doing here at the American.
Looked like you had 100,000 picked up.
Yes, sir. This is the greatest rodeo I've ever been to, and the atmosphere is second to none.
All right, congratulations to both of you. Any questions for Caleb and or Patrick Smith and or Hunter Cure? All right, let's get a couple more champions up here. Let's move on into the bronc riding right now. Get Wade Sundell up here and also go back into the calf roping with Tyson Durfee. We'll get Tyson up here as well. And JB Mooney, please come on up. We'll get JB as well. And then we'll go wrap up with our barrel racing and our final other champion. Wade, I'll get started with you. You look like a guy to me that if they took the roof off, you might jump off through the roof. You absolutely bring an excitement to bronc riding that the fans just love to watch you ride. Talk about that enthusiasm and excitement that you show in your rides.
Oh, you just can't have any backup. I mean, you gotta be full steam ahead at all times and never know what may happen. So things ain't have fun and let it all hang out.
Well, you let it hang out in the long go. You had an outstanding ride. The fans were cheering. I mean, when it came down in the Bronx. Something that's going to kick in when you have so much on the line.
Yeah, I mean, you just gotta try to keep the same mindset every time, you know. Every time you climb in there, it's 100 or nothing, and rattle out and let it all fall into place. So.
Looked like it more than fell into place.
Yeah, it did. I had my motor running pretty good though, and the court was 89. I knew that horse though could darn sure be a good shot to be over 90. So it worked out.
It worked out. This is a guy that it always seems to work out. As they say in the game, he's going to come and get your money every time. Our saddle bronc riding champion is going to be Wade Sundell. Now we move to the calf roping or the tie-down roping. Tyson Durfee, 6'9". You just backed in there and said, boys, I am going to set the bar. You had some outstanding champions behind you. Did you feel the pressure of the other guys behind you when you backed into that box, knowing that you were the first guy out?
You know, I'd be lying to you if I said there wasn't pressure. You know, you got Trevor Brazil and Cody Owen, that's 25 world championships right there, at least between the two of them. So, you know, you got to go for it and let it all hang out. And I haven't been 6 in a long time. And my father-in-law, you know, we talked earlier today, and he said, you know, you just got to go for it. Try to win first. And that's what I did.
Well, speaking about winning first, you know, in the calf roping, I've not really roped much at all, but I've listened to Joe Beaver at the National Finals Rodeo, who does an outstanding job with the color commentary, and he always talks about guys having to slow down to go faster. Talk about the process when you're getting off that horse, how you're going to hold that slack in your rein, because you want that calf to spin around and be looking at you, and your run was flawless. We saw a couple of mistakes of the other guys once you set the bar, but take us through the run when you catch that calf of what you're wanting to have happen.
You know, for me, I've never been a guy that could reach to the end of the rope right across the line. So for me, it was all about waiting in the stirrup, trying to turn that calf around and keep him on his feet. You know, all those calves were so good, and maybe some of the reasons some other guys weren't a quicker 6 is because the calf went down as they turned. And, you know, luckily enough, I was able to pull him in my arm, riding a great horse. He turned around, and I knew if I could get him around on his feet on the inside, he'd be in a straight go, and I could go pretty fast.
Did you find yourself going down the rope thinking, uh-oh, this could be good? Do you have to kind of pace yourself? Or is this where practice really comes into play? It becomes repetition.
You know, you just got to react. You know, this is what broken bones and hours in the practice spent and working out, this is what it all boils down to, is this moment right here. So for me, I had to react. You know, anytime I'm thinking about something going through a run, I go to the wrong place. You know, I make a mistake. I do something like that. So for me today, it was just reaction.
Well, speaking about a reaction, a bull riding champion, Mr. J.B. Mooney. J.B., you know, I've watched you ride, and you always talk about practice, practice, practice. Last year, we saw perhaps one of the most outstanding falls where you kind of came back as a whole new man. Talk about how last year almost set up this year and this day.
Well, you know, last year, the second half, I was riding the ride. You know, seemed like I couldn't do any wrong, and I was riding it out, and it rolled over this year after winning the world. You know, that was like all the weight was lifted off my shoulders then. Didn't have to worry about putting so much pressure on myself to win a world title, and it was just having fun riding bulls in.
You know, you made a comment that your wife was kind of instrumental in helping you kind of refocus yourself last year. Talk about that.
Well, I was a little wilder in my younger days and didn't really think about the future a whole lot. And, you know, after I got
You're
married.
a cowboy.
Yeah. And after I got married, you know, she finally, I was real bad about not taking any breaks. I always thought if I couldn't ride with pain, I shouldn't ride at all. So she taught me into taking a month or so off and went home, healed up, didn't think about bull riding, come back with a whole new attitude, was hungry for it and wanted to do it then. And
shoot, it couldn't have worked out any better.
Let's take us through both of our bulls this afternoon. You had two outstanding rides, bulls that you really rode quite. The first bull was a little more of a challenge. The second one, you definitely looked like you had your seat the whole way.
Yeah, that first bull, that was not the one to have. When I seen the draw, I wasn't too happy about the whole deal. But I knew if I kept my hands shut and tried till he hit the ground, it'd work out. And luckily it did. The second bull, he was the one to have in the Final Four. I knew that, and all I had to do was my job, and thankfully I did it.
All right, congratulations. There we have J.B. Mooney, Tyson Durfee, and Wade Sundell, our champions of the saddle bronc riding, tie-down calf roping, and the bull riding. We'll bring up our final two champions right now. Miss Lisa Lockhart, where are you? And rodeo, because this sport requires a tremendous amount of time on the road away from home.
Yes, it does, and sorry, I'm, it's a matter of the heart, definitely. Talking about my family, because that is the hardest thing about rodeo, is being away from my family. And we all make sacrifices, and they make sacrifices. I make sacrifices being away from them, but it's just part of the job. It's the way we say that it is, and lots of jobs require parents to be away from home. So I try to keep my travels to a minimal. And matter of fact, I had a few days off just the other day, and I was extremely homesick. And so I called my husband. I said, "Book me a flight." And so I went home for 2 days. It was very short and sweet, and almost not worth it in some ways because it was so hectic trying to get it done, but I did, and just so glad that, and I got to come back here refreshed, and yeah.
Well, speak about that, because the refreshing part, we just heard JB talk about how it changed him. Your mind gets better. Talk about the relationship between you and your horse. You've got an outstanding horse. If the horse feels you kind of being tense, do you feel a difference in your run? When you're more relaxed, does your horse run better?
I've ridden this horse and I trained this horse, so, we have a great relationship together, and so, we just spend a lot of time with our animals, and we know what it takes, and, what keeps them, the way that they are, and what it takes to keep them, focused on their job, so, absolutely, your emotions and your horses can feel that, so you just have to know your game plan, and it's different for every person and different for every horse, so you just need to figure out what works for you and your horse.
Speaking about what works, the final run in the barrel racing, you're the last barrel racer to go. You see the three competitors before you knock a barrel down. And everybody is probably sitting there and going, "Oh, this is probably the easiest run that you're ever going to make in your life." Did you allow what had happened to the others enter into there, and it was like,
everybody goes about it a little bit differently once again, but, in my mind, I did know that they had hit some barrels, but it's not something I really thought about or concentrated on, because the fact remains you got to go do your job, regardless of what they've done. So, my focus was on doing my job to the best of my ability, full well knowing that, you always want to try to keep the barrel standing regardless. And I knew in the back of my mind it was more crucial today, but, you can't really change your game plan a whole lot, because when you do, that's different than what you'd ever done before, and then that kind of messes things up too. So I just went out there, did my job, tried to place my horse exactly where he needed to be, and try not to change anything, just make the best run we can.
what'd you think when you turned the third barrel?
I have to admit, I have never been so elated to turn a third barrel in my life. And I thought about whipping him, and I'm thinking, why would I whip him? We just won it. So, you never know. I've never known at that point in a run that I had won. And when I did today, it was just a feeling like no other to know that I had won.
Well, I think there's a lot of people at home that are very proud of you, and a lot of fans here. Anyone with any questions for Lisa? All right, thank you very much. Congratulations. Oh, sorry.
You said earlier that it was a life-changing experience for you. Why do you mean that?
Number one, the money, because this is my job. This is what I'm out here doing. Although my one son asked me once upon a time when I was going to get a real job. Maybe now he'll think that this is my real job. But anyway, so that's what's a life-changing experience, when, you can be at one place for one day and win such an astronomical amount of money. That's a life-changing experience for my family.
Anybody else? Your barrel racing champion, Lisa Lockhart. You can catch her individually off to the side. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, to be 21 and to win $1.1 million. Richmond champion. Now bareback riding champion. There's a lot of people that left this building, not only that were here, but also watched on RFD-TV, that came in here this afternoon that may not have known you. You were having a sensational start to the year. It just went off the charts. What's going through your, the idea of $1,100,000, Leah Garcia asked you what it was like, what was going through your mind, and what will this do for you as far as this sets you up for the rest of your life?
Yeah, there'll never be another poor day.
There's probably a lot of girls running around out here. We got to get you in all kinds of trouble. But Rich, when you see all the great Cowboys in here, the enthusiasm that when you came back in that Final Four, you know, you had seen Casey Field go before you. You'd seen some great rides. Did the adrenaline kick in? Was it a little fear factor? Oh my God, because you were the first guy that really had a shot at $1 million.
Yeah, there's definitely all kinds of nerves today. Not so much on my first one, it kind of just took care of business, but the closer and closer that four-man got, it got a little intense. But you know, I had my brother there, and he's pulling my rigging, and you know, he looked at me, he's like, "You got this, man." I mean, and I'd been on that horse before, and I knew he was a handful, but yeah, it was amazing.
When you saw the electricity of the crowd and how the crowd was into it, when the event started in the finals, did that take you to another gear? Did you feel like all of a sudden there was a different Richie that was riding in the bareback riding?
I don't know if it was a different Richie. I definitely kind of found my zone a little bit. I seen Casey go, and he made an outstanding bareback ride, and I knew I had to come with it if I wanted to make this thing happen, and managed to do that. I don't remember a whole lot from the ride other than that it felt really good.
When you made the lap and they put you on the stage, and basically the wait begins. Talk about as you watched each event go by, and did you allow the thought, I just won $1 million to sink in, or was it kind of like, wow, this is going to be good no matter what?
I didn't pay attention until the barrel racing, and then the guys were starting to, oh, you're one away, and then, you know, I think Wade Sandell looked at me and goes, "You just did it, buddy. You're a millionaire."
Well, speaking about that, you're a millionaire. You know, you watched the barrel races in there. There were two competitors that had a chance, if they had been successful, to split it with you. You don't ever want to see another competitor not succeed, but what went through your mind and your heart when you saw that you were going to be the $1 million winner?
Shoot, I mean, I don't wish it on anyone not to perform well or to hit a barrel or anything like that. I mean, I'm a fan of rodeo, and I love watching it and love seeing my friends do good. And today, when they looked at me and told me that, I mean, what do you do? I still don't know.
You know, the interesting thing is we just heard Randy Bernard talk about where he wants to see this event go. You have helped propel it and get people talking about it, because you've left here winning $1.1 million, which is what Randy has wanted. He wants to see it grow bigger. He wants to see the sport grow bigger. You're young. You're 21 years old. You've got a tremendous career ahead of you. How exciting is it for you to be involved in this event, and also when you hear the things that Randy Bernard talks about, where he wants to take the sport?
You know, that's awesome. What Randy's done for the sport with the qualifiers and all that, you know, nobody's ever done stuff like that. Nobody's ever come up with an idea for something this big. And when I showed up for check-in and walked in this arena, you know, it kind of hit me that this is the real deal. You know, I've grown up watching PBRs and watching JB, you know, when I was 15, you know what I mean?
You're really old right now.
To be here. I went to the Iron Cowboy last night and just watched the show and just the fans and how everybody's into it. I mean, people are on the edge of their seats for this, and I think they were on the edge of their seats today. And that's changed my life, and I think it's going to change the face of rodeo forever.
There's our champion, $1.1 million, our bareback riding champion. Any questions on the floor? If not, you can catch Richie later. I'd like to thank everybody for coming to the press conference, and as Renee Bernard said, history was made this afternoon at the American. Thank you all, and have a good evening.
Just in time.
Take you to the pro shop and we'll close. We'll get you all set up with some gear. Not a problem.
10 hours today. He would put a horse saddle for about 10 hours today, so he would probably like to be on top of this point.
It'll take Chris. When do you head home? Immediately. That's pretty cool.
Hunter, what's up?
Basically,
Yeah, whatever they want to do. And then the other one go back to the first class. Or stay here, wherever you want to be.
This is where I could have used my own lights.
and you don't have to say just in front of the table. We want to know that you're the champion and who you want.
If I'd known we was doing this, I wouldn't have let somebody use my lights. I got a white balance.
Oh. How are you on this?
Yep, good. Stand by.
I hope the weather behaves.
Can we turn with we got some more light behind him? Let's just turn.
He's in a bit of a hurry.
I'm sorry. We'll do it quick.
Okay. Need it again?
No. Stand by. And we're rolling.
I'm Hunter Cure, steer wrestling champion at RFD-TV's The American, and you're watching RFD-TV.
Wait a minute. Did you plug it in? You're good.
Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Hi, I'm Hunter Cure, steer wrestling champion at The American, and you're watching RFD-TV.
Thank you very much.